Hi friends, good morning. Today's video class, we are going to learn the next session of the third chapter, Human Reproduction, where we are going to learn female reproductive system. The female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, which are the primary sex organs, oviduct or the fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, vagina, external genitalia, and mammary glands. These structures structurally and functionally supports the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth, and childcare. This diagram is the sectional view of female pelvis showing the reproductive system. Displayed here, we can go through this and try to understand various parts of it. And we know that the female reproductive system, it consists of a pair of ovaries located on the either side of the uterus. And attached to this, the ovary, which is not displayed here in this diagram. This is the sectional view which shows the uterus in the pelvic cavity and the urinary bladder, the part of pubis symphysis, the urethra, and the part of this external genitalis clitoris, labia majora, labia minora, and the vaginal orifice, anus, rectum, which are the part of digestive system, and this is the tubular portion, vagina. Along with the cervix, it acts as birth canal at the time of parturition. This diagram also you have to draw and practice. Shall we move on to the next? The female reproductive system, the diagrammatic sectional view of female reproductive system, let us see that it consists of the parts which include the vagina, the cervical canal and the cervix, uterus, which have an inverted pear-shaped structure, and a pair of fallopian tubes or the oviduct, left and right fallopian tube, and a pair of ovaries on right and left side. So we can say that uterus, from uterus both the sides, the fallopian tube or the oviduct, and a pair of ovaries located on the either side of the uterus, that is between the vertebral column near to the kidney, and the other parts which we will discuss later. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, oviduct or the fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, vagina, external genitalia, and mammary glands. First, let us discuss the ovaries, which are the primary sex organs. Ovaries are primary sex organs which produces the female gametes, ovum or egg, and it also produce and secretes ovarian steroid hormones like progesterone and estrogen. These hormones induces the development of secondary sexual characteristics in females, and it also regulates the cyclic changes that takes place in the endometrium of uterus. Uterine endometrium, that is the inner lining of the uterus. The human ovaries are very small. It is like almond shape, and the size is about 3 cm in diameter. Ovaries are located near kidneys and remain attached to the lower abdominal cavity through mesovarium, that is connected to the pelvic wall and to the uterus through ligaments. The ovary is covered by a single layer of germinal epithelium, and the epithelium encloses ovarian stroma, which is divided into a peripheral cortex and inner medulla. Move on to the next is the fallopian tube or the oviducts. You can see a small portion from the oviduct is displayed here. A pair of muscular ciliated tubular structures that extends from the ovary to the uterus. That is the oviduct or fallopian tubes. Each fallopian tube is differentiated into 4 parts. Now let's see what are those 4 parts. The first part is the infundibulum. Infundibulum, which is funnel shaped part. The infundibulum is the funnel shaped part, and it has some finger like projections are present at the base of it, which is known as the fimbriae. This fimbriae collects the ovum after ovulation. The next is the ampulla. Continuation from the infundibulum is the ampulla, that is the broad portion of the oviduct, a wider part or the broad part of the oviduct. Then ampullae continues to form the isthmus, that is the narrow portion of the oviduct. Internally, this is covered by ciliated epithelium, which helps in the pushing of the ovum, which is released from the ovary. And last part is the inner part of the oviduct, that is narrow portion of the oviduct that opens into the uterus. And this portion, which involves in the conduction of ovum to the uterus, can be ovum or fertilized ovum for implantation, and the movement is controlled by peristalsis and the ciliary action. And the fertilization is occurring in the ampullary isthmic junction, that is the junction between the ampulla and isthmus of the oviduct. Next part of the female reproductive system is the uterus. The uterus is also known as womb. It is shaped like an inverted pear shaped bag-like structure that is located in the pelvic region between the urinary bladder and the rectum. It is attached to the pelvic wall by ligaments, and it is the part where the embryo develops into fetus. It is formed of 3 parts of the uterus, that is fundus, body and cervix. You can see that pictorial representation. This is the uterine fundus, that part above the uterus, which is not labeled here. This portion is the uterine fundus, a dome-shaped part above the uterus. And this is the body of the uterus. It forms the body of the uterus up to here. Middle and main part of the uterus, and the lower portion is the cervix, narrow portion of the uterus that opens into the vagina through the cervix. It is formed of, the cervical part is formed of most powerful sphincter muscles. At the time of parturition or delivery, the cervix and vagina both act as birth canal. So it need to contract. Okay, that's about the part of the uterus. It has three parts I told. The uterine fundus, dome-shaped part where the fallopian tubes are entering into it or connected to it. And this is the body part. And last portion is the cervix. Inner side, what you are seeing is the uterine cavity